concept where spirit and earth meet together as one, united being. Hello everyone, welcome to Peripheral Consciousness, and thank you for sharing your time with me. On today's episode, I will be discussing Deja-Vu and what it represents spiritually. Later in the episode, I will be allowing a spirit-controlled speech delivered by one of my spirit guides. I'm sure that most people have heard the term Deja-Vu at some point in their lives. And I'm sure that most people have experienced some sort of occurrence where the feeling of remembrance of a situation or action has occurred following something that you have experienced for the first time. So how can this be? How could we have a feeling of remembering an experience that we have never experienced? I think that most will agree that although we have a feeling of remembrance, it is remembering the experience, but it's remembering in a different perception. It's the same experience, but it's a different perception. It's like going back to a park that you grew up at as a child and have returned many years later. It's the same park, but your perception of it has changed. So deja vu seems to be a reoccurrence of an experience from a different perception. It's exactly the same action of events, but it feels different. Just like most things in life, deja vu can be quite confusing. It's a feeling like no other, while experiencing it in the moment. And after, we try and figure it out briefly, then move on. I'm sure most of us don't give it much attention after the fact, mainly because it happens so briefly. There's so much that we do not understand of this life. It tends to be put in the large file of, "It's beyond me," and we put it back in the filing cabinet. There's a reason for everything in this life, but not everything matters. If you're listening to this now, it matters. We all chose and agreed to everything that we experience in this physical life. We chose to experience deja vu at certain points of our lives. So what does it mean? We all use deja vu to represent slightly different reasons. It's a spiritual tool that most of us use to remind us of our true reality, our ultimate being. We use it so we can open our minds to the fact that all is not what it seems. That there is more to just this way of being, more to existence than what we are currently experiencing. When deja vu is occurring, we are remembering the current experience, but we are not remembering from previous experience. We are not repeating a previous life. We are experiencing what we have created. What you are remembering is creating that moment in your life. That is your perception of the moment while creating it before your incarnation. This is why your perception changes drastically for the current brief moment, then returns to your physical life perception. For a brief moment, you get to experience your creation perception. We are all creators of our own lives, that we must intertwine with others. We all work together as one whole, in spirit and physical. At times, it definitely does not feel that way, but there is a reason for every creation, even if it feels like a punishment or evil in the moment. We all agreed to this incarnation before entering, and we all knew all possible outcomes. What we don't know before incarnation is what our reactions will be. Just like in this physical life, we can only speculate on the way we might react to an experience. But we truly won't know until we experience in the moment from our physical plane perception. Every experience is a new experience here in this physical plane. And that's why we all chose to come here. With each new experience comes change. And change is what allows our souls to be the individual characters that we are, operating together as one. For this portion of the episode, I will be allowing a spirit-controlled message in the form of spirit-controlled speech, delivered by one of my spirit guides. Please keep in mind that during any spirit control, there is often interference picked up on the recording. And since it is spirit controlled, I cannot re-record. Deja-Vu. Who came up with Deja-Vu? The French. What the heck? We can't come up with our own word here in America. Deja-Vu. Why in the heck isn't there another word for it? It gets exploited. Deja-vu. It's almost lost its true meaning completely. The various people that use it, how it's just thrown out there. Fits right in. Okay. Deja-vu. Yes. Why in the heck does it even exist? Who created it? And why? Why was it even created? Strange. Deja-vu. Like most everything. Matters. It matters. Not everything matters. Everything has a reason. There is a reason for everything because everything has been created. Chance does not exist. Chance is just a perception. Because everything has been created. So, has everyone experienced deja vu? Not everyone. Not everyone has experienced deja vu. But everyone that has experienced deja vu experienced it for a reason. And just like everything, that reason isn't always acknowledged in the moment. Sometimes these reasons only make sense a little bit after the fact, later on in life. In fact, most of the time, it's not meant to make sense in the moment. But it is meant to grab your attention. That's right. Grab your attention in the moment. Does not necessarily mean you need to understand it in the moment. Just grab it. Hold on to it. Save it for another time. And that's what happens. It gets your attention. But for a brief moment, while experiencing this deja vu, it awakens your soul for a brief moment. Because for that brief moment, you're in a different perception. You're in an altered state of consciousness. For that brief moment, everything looks different. Everything feels different. Your perception has changed in that brief moment of deja vu. Most of us slip this one into our lives at certain points. Certain points that we understand that we might need some sort of a tap on the shoulder in sense from ourselves. In sense, we are self-aware of the fact that in this moment in our lives, when we're planning our lives, we might need a tap on the shoulder. Not necessarily because of the actions that are taking place in this moment, but necessarily in the overall experience of your lifetime. This is a good point to open your consciousness just a little bit in a different direction. So, let's say you're playing a baseball game and you get deja vu during the game at some point. It's not necessarily because you're playing the baseball. Most likely, it's because of what's going on in your life entirely and what you have gone through in your life to get to this moment. So it doesn't always necessarily mean pay attention to what you're doing in the moment, like playing a baseball game or doing something, but pay attention to what's going on in your life, your whole life, and what you've gone through in this moment to where you are now. And again, I'm trying not to confuse here. I understand it might happen, but I hope everyone gets the picture. And we all use it for slightly different reasons anyway. But the main thing here is it opens your mind. You're reminding yourself that there's more to this world than what the world has led to believe you. It's a point in your life where you can say, well, okay, now, this doesn't make any sense. How can I be remembering something that I have never done before? This makes no sense. This type of thought allows you to open your mind to the fact that not everything is as it seems. There's more to this world than what you can see and hear and feel. There's more to it. Remember? That's what it's meant for. Remember? There's more to it. Not just this. This is just your brief reality. This is not your ultimate reality. It's just a brief reality. It seems like it's a long time while you're going through it, but I assure you, it is not. It's a brief moment. It's going to be over before you know it. Literally. Okay, so I touch base on the main parts here, and I'm sure what most are thinking right now is, well, hey, let's get to the point or the part where you tell us about creating. I'm sure there's a lot out there going, oh, well, let's back up a little bit. Creating. We created this. We created this before we incarnate. So we create our whole lives. We weren't just thrown into this world unknowingly and forced to go through all this crap. Because yes, it's a lot of crap. Everyone goes through a lot of crap here. And yes, this crap you created. You think you would voluntarily jump into this if someone else created it? Come on. That's a little ridiculous. We create our lives before we incarnate. And we create it together. All of us as one. Obviously, the ones that are in current incarnation can't be doing it with us before we are incarnated. But the ones that aren't, obviously, we all work together. All of our lives are intertwined in spirit and physical. They're always intertwined because while you're in the physical world, spirit is with you always. Your friends and family of spirit are with you always. They're in your thoughts. They're in your feelings. They're with you. Do you think any of us would come here alone? Go through this alone? And trust that another human is going to help us? Come on. When you're in your human body, you really don't know anything. A lot of people pretend like they know, but they really don't. Not much. I don't think very many spirits would agree to come to this world with just the help of other humans. That doesn't make any sense because humans don't know what the heck they're doing. Spirits are the ones in control. But the spirits in control love you and know you very, very much. Nothing to worry about there. When you're in your body, you're incarnate in this world, you have the perception of being in control. And yes, having the perception of being in control is in a way of being in control. Because if you think you're in control, well, they kind of are. Whatever you think, if you truly believe it, it's pretty much the way it is, until, of course, you change your thoughts, which can lead to a lot of stress. That's why I'm telling you the ultimate reality. For those of you that are ready to hear it, it relieves stress, but it also gives you a feeling of, holy crap, I'm not in control of anything. Oh, yay. That's kind of a weird perception to have. It's not a perception. It's the ultimate truth, the ultimate reality. If you're incarnate, you're in control of your reactions, not your actions. Your body is a part of this physical world. Your physical body is a part of this physical world. You cannot control it. As hard as it is to fathom, you control your reactions. And I tell this to the ones that are ready. And it is hard to fathom. And it doesn't really make sense at first. You have to give it time. But eventually, your new knowledge will persist and you'll understand. And in time, it will be really understood. And everything will really start to make a little more sense, especially the things that are very unclear in this world. For one, Deja-Vu. There's a reason why it feels like you're remembering something, even though you know you haven't done it before. It's because you created it. Your thoughts and feelings. And that's why you get a different perception in the midst of Deja-Vu. You have this different perception during Deja-Vu because this is the way it seemed to you, the way you perceived it while you were creating it. And once you had finished creating it with your thoughts and feelings, because everything is feeling. Thought is feeling. So yes, everything is thought and feeling. So, you have seen these situations before because you created them. That's right. You created them along with many, many, many other souls. And that too, I'm sure, is very hard to fathom. How meticulous it must be. Every tiny little detail created. Well, it's similar to a dream. Yet it's a controlled dream that must work with others in thought. We all work together. We all work together, creating our lives to work together as one. It seems complicated, but when you're operating on a full consciousness, it is not. In fact, it's delightful. And just because you have a thought in spirit before you incarnate doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be created. There is a difference. Some things can't be explained. but that's the closest I can get. And I hope now that when you experience deja vu, it's a little clearer. And you get the chance to go, holy crap, he was right. It all makes sense now. I hope everyone gets to experience that moment, because it is a great moment when you understand something spiritual, understand your true and ultimate reality. Having a moment of understanding something that you have found to be confusing your whole life, and now being able to reflect on it and go, okay. At first, when I heard that on the podcast, it sounded kind of out there. But now, I can understand it. Well, I hope you all get to experience that. And I'm sure there's a lot of you right now going, well, holy crap. That does make sense. And now that I think about it, I understand the feeling. Yes. Okay. Yes, I understand the feeling. I hope. Deja vu. We all decide to put it in different points in our lives. And sometimes it really does allow you to take a conscious step back and look at the whole picture. Your life is not as it seems. Your life is not as it seems. If you're listening to this, you're ready to hear it. There are a lot, and I mean a lot, of people in this physical plane that are not ready to hear that. And that's okay. They're stuck in the moment. They got their heads so far down that rabbit hole, they can't turn around. And that's okay. They chose to do that. Some of us choose to come here and don't want to know any of our ultimate and true reality. They want a complete physical plane experience. Some like the shock when you return. The shock of, holy crap. Wow. And some like more of an ease, so that at a certain point in their lives, they start to waken up a little bit spiritually. That way, when it's time to go back into the spirit plane, go back to your ultimate reality, it's not so much of a shock. It's more of a, okay, yeah, now that all makes sense. Okay. Opposed to a, holy crap, whoa, kind of reaction. Everyone's a little different. Some are ready for that, some aren't. So most of you that are listening to this now, obviously, are more of a ease into the spirit plane, not more of a shocker. I'm sure you've done it plenty of times, the whole shocking thing, and you probably do it again. But in this life, you want more of an ease back in. You want to know some of the truth before you come back home, which is understandable, especially if you've done this so many times. And it's just, you don't want to have that shock so many times. I'm not going to get into that. But for those of you that are wondering, that's why some choose to have a better understanding of their ultimate reality, and some just want the full physical plane experience. They don't want to be spiritual at all. They just want to get their physical plane experience, enjoy it for what it is, and then bam, that's right. So just wanted to get that one out there. Well, let's see. What else should I say while I have control of MA here? I don't really get to speak through him that much anymore. Let's see. Aha. One more thing I'd like to add about deja vu. It may seem that deja vu has some type of other meaning. And I think some of you might understand what I'm saying. Deja vu ultimately can only be one thing here. It can only be what it is. You're free to believe whatever you want now in the moment, obviously. And truly, it really doesn't matter. But ultimately, deja vu, or deja vu, only really means one thing for everyone. That you ultimately are your own creator. That's right. And I've said this before. But for those of you who haven't heard me say this, you are your own creator. You do not owe anybody anything. That can be a terrible feeling. Feeling like you owe your existence or you owe your life to someone or something. I want everyone to know you don't. You are your own creator. You have always existed, and you will always exist in harmony with everyone together as one. You can do no wrong. This physical plane experience is just as I make it say or sound. It's an experience. We're here for the experience. So experience it without regret of anything, whether you've inflicted pain and suffering on another or yourself. Let it go. Your body is a part of this physical world. It's going to do what it's going to do. Your soul is your reactions. Your soul is your being. You can react however you want internally. No matter what happens in the physical plane, you can react however you want. Open your consciousness. Keep it wide open. This is just an experience. Don't take it so seriously. It's not your ultimate reality. Yes, of course, if you hurt yourself, You cut your leg off or a finger or something. I understand it suddenly got really serious. Pain is serious. I understand that. But it can't be avoided. The negative things that happen to you in your life cannot be avoided. Nor can the positive. You can do no wrong. The positive things will happen and the negative things will happen. React to them the best you can. Try and remove internal fear. Remove internal fear by reminding yourself that no matter what happens, everything will be okay. Ultimately. I understand if you get in an accident, you might be in some pain for a while. But ultimately, remind yourself, and I know it's hard at times, but remind yourself that ultimately everything will be okay, no matter what. This is not your ultimate reality. This is your current brief reality that unfortunately for you in the moment is filled with pain and suffering at its times. But you chose to come here and you agreed to this world and you created your life to what you were comfortable with. And yes, in creation, you might have had to make some adjustments for others because no one can live a perfect life. You have to adjust your life for the lives around you, the lives that are intertwined with yours. We all work together. Understand your ultimate reality. Understand what existence is. Understanding these things relieves your soul of stress and worry, hatred. All of these things will be removed from your life when you understand that everything that happens cannot be avoided. Mistakes do not exist. So when you find yourself being angry with another for something that you perceive to be a mistake that could have been avoided due to stupidity or just simple arrogance or greed, remind yourselves that we're all one. We all created this world together. What that does is relieves the stress, hatred, and worry and fear from your life, knowing that you can do no wrong. What you can do is react to the physical plane for what it is, because there is no controlling the physical plane in the moment. Trust your spirit team. Trust your spirit loved ones that are with you always. Trust that energy that you feel, that you know you feel, and you know is not yours, but that it is energy that is with you always. Trust it, because everything will be okay. even in the worst of times. Everything that I say is not a lesson to learn. I'm not teaching anything. I'm reminding everyone of what you already know. We're all one. We're all on the same level here. Just because I'm a spirit speaking through an incarnate does not mean that I know more than you. Does not mean that I'm any higher than you or a different level. We're all on the same level. We're all one. I'm just in spirit. You are not. You're incarnate. Remind yourselves to love no matter what. Not for them, but for you. Being angry, judging, is not good for your soul. Loving, no matter what is, no matter what anyone does or says, no matter what they do, love them. You can do no wrong. It is never wrong to love someone, no matter who it is. You don't have to love what they do. Love who they are internally. Internally, they are just like you. We are all one. Consciousness is all that exists. This physical world is just a brief creation for us to experience. Ultimately, this world is just consciousness. Everything is consciousness. The only thing that exists is consciousness. Souls are not created. Souls have always existed and always will exist. This, of course, means there are no new souls. There are no old souls. There's just souls. And there's nothing else. Just consciousness. So how can you dislike or hate another soul when that soul is all that exists? We are all souls. We all love each other very much. That's all there is. There are no new souls. What we have is what we have. We are all one. Remind yourself this. When someone inflicts great pain and suffering on you, remind yourself that this is just a brief moment. It doesn't matter. Love them for what they are. They exist. They exist. Love them. Because in your ultimate reality, you know and love them very well. It's just now, in your brief moment experience, in your current perception of existence, that you perceive them to be this incarnate body that has inflicted suffering on you or a loved one. But you know that this is a soul that exists. And this outcome could not have been avoided. It's part of the experience. This person is going through an experience that they chose to go through, knowing the pain and suffering involved. Remind yourselves the ultimate truth. And that's how you find love at the hardest times of this experience. It can be done, but you must open your mind and remind yourself of your true and ultimate being. And you'll find the love no matter what. Love everyone, no matter what. Eventually, we'll all be able to do it. But it must start somewhere. Those of you listening are capable of this action. And it must start somewhere. Love spreads. Love is contagious. Love will always overcome hate and fear. It may not always be easy, but it can be done. And it only takes one to show it. It only takes one to show love towards another when that other has shown nothing but hatred. Always love, no matter what. Eventually, it will become this physical plane. There's obviously a long way to go, but it needs to start somewhere. And when the few start showing love over hate no matter what, it will spread. Love feeling will spread. And eventually the world will overcome. We're all working together in this physical plane. We all just aren't aware of it. this concludes the spirit message for this episode. I hope everyone has experienced an expansion of consciousness. For me, deja vu is something that I have experienced since childhood. When I was younger, I didn't think much of it. But as I got older, I started to realize that it would usually happen at interesting and major points in my life. Sometimes at funny points as well. We all insert these deja vu moments in our lives for slightly different reasons. But overall, they get our attention. Please feel free to contact me with any questions through my website, peripheralconsciousness.com. I love questions. We all need each other to expand our consciousness. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the near future.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing your time. I know a lot of the things that I talk about can be quite confusing. That being said, if there are any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'd love to go over them with you and discuss any matters that you might have at hand. Thank you again, everyone. Please tune in next time for Peripheral Consciousness with M.A. Johnson. Thank you.